Good evening. Welcome back. It's been a long time coming. That's right. Whoop, whoop. Yes. This is the second time through, so I had the primary parents. Oh, we're starting off good. We started with them last night, so I'm going to not skip over prayer until about halfway through. So we're going to start now with prayer. Take a few minutes. Let's thank God that we're here. Thank God for those that are interested or that are coming back to school, that we have a safe environment, that our kids take it serious enough to know that we need a safe environment in school, and that your principal keeps all his hair throughout the school year. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. All right. I cannot tell you how excited I am to be up here. Well, not exactly up here, but that we're starting out the school year. It's been 6 months, right? We're talking March of the last school year that we've had anything to do with education. I'm not saying that remote learning that we did at the end of the year was not educational, so I take that all back. But the idea to be up here, we're starting fresh, we're starting new. I have teachers that are excited to get started remotely as well as in the classroom. They've done a lot of planning. Our school has done a lot of planning to start out a great school year. And as we all know, there's going to be bumps in the road. We're obviously planning, but God laughs as we plan. So I know that we're going to have bumps in the road, and I ask for your patience while we hit those bumps. We've done a lot of planning, but as you well know, the governor has a tendency to change things weekly. So we're going to continue to plan. We'll continue to pray that we have a safe environment. We are thinking that we have kids in our building as well as remotely, whatever their need is. I'd like to start out by introducing Father John, our pastor. He has a couple things he wants to add, and then we'll move right along.
Tonight I get first billing. Last night I was somewhere in the middle. I kind of clicked my fingers, and I always remind him and said, I give gray hair, I don't get it. So there you go. Is it a good day? It's a great day. It is indeed a great day. We have spent numerous hours over the past many months in preparing a building for your child's safety and health, and we've done numerous things, probably of which many of you won't be able to see, but perhaps you've read in our reopening implementation plan and other documents through the bulletin. The most important one is the hydroionization filtering system in the building to filter all the air in every classroom and in every major space. So it's kind of like pure air, clean air, just like here in the church. We've done that as well. Most of the rooms are done, so we're working on that. We've spent a significant amount of money in technology, and you'll hear a little bit about that, updating our bandwidth, computers, cameras, microphones, all of the stuff so that we can have synchronous or continuous or whatever words we're using, learning at the same time for all of our children, whether they're in the building or whether they're out of the building. Lines, tape, as you look on the floors of the church, floors on the carpeting, on the walkways, signs on the walls, numerous things to remind our children that we need to be safe, and in order to be safe, we have to read and follow the instructions, etc., like us as adults. So it's a good learning effort on all of our parts. The part of the struggle, of course, is that open, don't open, open, don't open. Which day of the week is it? Monday? Is it Thursday? We're open, whatever. So prayerfully and after much consideration, we know we are open for 5 full days. And as Mr. Carner says, we all know that could change in a minute, in a week, in a day. I have shared with the faculty and staff on numerous occasions throughout the course of the summer, as well as the task force that worked diligently with us over many weeks as far as how to open, how to be safe, how to be in the building, how to exit the building, that our attitude this year, not that it isn't the attitude every year, but our attitude more so this year is that of Christ, as St. Paul writes in his newsletters and in his epistles. Our attitude must be that of Christ, ABC. Attitude be that of Christ. And the two virtues that we're all taking on, that we've made a commitment to take on this year, are the two virtues of gentleness and compassion. We're partners in all of this, so nobody has the handbook on this new time. So we're asking for gentleness and compassion and understanding as we move forward. Questions, concerns, always important. Always give it to us, emails or calls or whatever. And I know that Mr. Karner is going to reiterate this, that if you have any questions or particular questions or concerns, put them in an email, put them in a voicemail. We want to be able to prepare a fax question so that everybody has some of those questions, many of which are very important and need to be asked and answered. So he'll reiterate all of that. Mr. Karner will in a minute. Prayerfully, it's going to be a good year. Prayerfully, it's going to be a new time and a new kind of year. So here we go. Is it a good day?
It's a great day.
Amen. Welcome back.
Okay, so we're going to move on to the introductions. We do have our homeroom teachers that are here. I'm just going to keep it simple instead of trying to explain all the different subjects that they teach because they're pretty flexible. I'll let them do that when they give their 2-minute speech at the end. But I'm going to start with fourth grade. So our fourth grade teacher, homeroom teacher, is Miss Garreau. Our fifth grade homeroom teacher is Mr. Bloom. Sixth grade homeroom teacher is Mrs. Smith. Seventh grade homeroom teacher is Mrs. Patina. And our eighth grade homeroom teacher is Mr. Jones. We also have a few other people that are here. They got surprised when I told them I was going to introduce them. They're also parents here. So our health aide, which I know most of you have probably heard from on the phone, but I thought maybe it would be nice that you see her face. So Mrs. Schmidt is also here. She's got one in the building as a parent too. Thank you, Mrs. Schmidt. And Mrs. Palumbo, who used to be our nurse, we have to keep one on staff, who comes every other week to spend time with us, and a lot of our questions go to her throughout the year. Mrs. Palumbo had retired, so we got lucky and we got Mrs. Doldner, who also has kids here at schools, and Mrs. Doldner happens to be here too. So thank you, Mrs. Doldner. We also have a new parochial vicar. Hopefully you've heard of him already. Mr. Tom Stock is here. I'm sorry, Father Tom Stock. Sorry, Father. I'll get in the swing of things. Lucky for you is we are blessed to have him. I've actually known Father Stock for almost 15 years. Back in the days when I was at St. Albert's, he was one of the parochials over there, and have been lucky enough to have him in my life for the last 15. We've actually stayed in touch a lot over the last 15 years. So I consider us very blessed to have Father with us and look forward to having him say Mass with our kids as well as teaching in the classroom. So welcome, Father Stock. We also added 3 new teachers. They're all our specialists, if you will. Our Spanish teacher, Senor Lagos, is no longer with us, but we added a new Spanish teacher, Senora Rodriguez. So Senora Rodriguez will be here with us on Mondays for Spanish. We also added a new music teacher. Mrs. Roman retired recently, and I was lucky enough to find a music teacher. This is brand spanking new. As in, you're the first to hear about this. You can spread the rumors. Mr. Karner found a music teacher. Start it out, man. So our new music teacher is Miss Kinsey. So she's very new. we look forward to her spending some time with us. She'll be with us with the same days as Mrs. Roman on Wednesday, Thursdays, and Fridays. So we look forward to working with her. We also have a new phys ed teacher this year by the name of Mrs. Morrison. So she will be with us on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. So we're very excited for all three of our new teachers. Please give them some patience. Obviously, they're new, and we want to make sure that they start out the year on a good pace. So thank you. We also will have Mrs. Rakowski and Mrs. Wetzel. They will be floating aides throughout the building, so they'll be teaching aides. They both will be splitting the week out. Probably one will be working Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and one will be working Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So they will be working throughout all of the classrooms, whether they be primary or whether they would be junior high or 3, 4, and 5. So we're looking forward to a great staff this year. Make sure I didn't forget anybody. Okay. All right, so some dates to keep in mind. August 26th is a big one. Yeah, well, we won't talk about that, Father. So August 26th is our first day of school, if you haven't known, which is a week from tomorrow. So you can remind your kids, whether we're remotely or whether we are face-to-face, we start in a week. A week. A week. Come on, man. It's a week. So speaking of a week, so on Sunday, the 23rd, which is a Sunday, at 12:30, we start our back-to-school event back at the school. Obviously, we do an ice cream social we've done in the past, but obviously that won't be this year because we're going to stay away from those kinds of issues. So you should have gotten an email that said for A through M, you're from 12:30 to 1, and then from N through Z, you're 1:30 to 2. So at that time, we are welcoming you back into the building. You can kind of get a gist of how our building's set up, where the tape is, where all the signs are, drinking fountains shut down, all those kinds of things that we've talked about. For those that are face-to-face and you want to drop off any of your supplies, that would be a great time to do it. For those of you that are remote learners, that is an opportunity to pick up all your stuff. So for grades 4 to 8, that would be an opportunity to pick up your Chromebook and all of the supplies that you'll need for home. So if you're picking up your Chromebook, you'll need to fill out that insurance form, and then there's a fee on there, and then at that same time, we will ship the Chromebook out with you. For those that are face-to-face, whether you're 4 to 8 or 3 to 5, we will send those home once school starts. So it doesn't need to, we're not going to worry about those that are face-to-face on Sunday. But on Sunday, for those that are remote, that would be an opportunity to pick up your books as well as your Chromebook. So grades 4 to 8 automatically get a Chromebook. There's insurance and fee. For those, any of you for kindergarten through 3rd grade, I know we're 4 to 8, but it never hurts to say this again, especially since we're streaming. Anybody in K to 3 that would need one that is doing remote learning, they need to contact me, and I will get them a Chromebook so they can use it at home. So if you cannot make the Sunday, the 23rd, from 12:30 to 2, then on Monday and Tuesday, that's next week, Monday and Tuesday from 9 to noon, you can also pick up your Chromebook as well as any of the books. I'll have those in the lobby, so if you want to stop in at the school between 9 and noon, I will have them ready for you. Now, in years past, we've done high school night. For some of you that are parents that have had older students, you realize what high school night is. Basically, it's an opportunity that we invite the high schools to come in, and they get to give their sales pitch, and you get to see all of them in one spot versus trying to visit all of the different open houses, which in today's world, we're not really sure whether or not they're even going to have them. I started to make contact with the high schools in the last couple days. I did pick a date, so October the 14th, which is a Wednesday, from 6 to 8, it's still in the planning stages, but the idea would, for those that have been here in the past, we've done more of a presentation style. We split you up into different classrooms, you know, Ed's, Padua, Holy Name. They would all have different rooms, and then you could visit the rooms every 15 minutes. You could visit 3 schools, and they would do a presentation. I've decided that that's probably not the best avenue. Instead, we're going to do more of a convention style. I've invited them to come over, and we would use the Garrity Center. And it would be more of a convention style. I'm going to invite 6 schools because in the last 10 years, we've only really used 6 schools. And that would be Padua, Holy Name, St. Ed's, St. Ignatius, Magnificat, and St. Joe's. Those are the 6. And we would invite them. I can tell you right now, it looks like only one has actually committed to me, and that would be Padua. The rest of them are pretty much on hold because they're not getting a whole lot of permission from their presidents that they should be going out. So that may change, and that's kind of the nice part about waiting till October the 14th. Hopefully things will settle. So generally, high school night is for 8th grade and as well as 7th grade. I don't know whether they're going to do any shadowing this year, so if we do get it, this would be a great opportunity to spend time with those high schools. Picture Day, that would be the next one. September the 23rd, that would be remote or face-to-face. We're still going to do it on the 23rd. They're only going to give us one date right now. I know in years past we've done preschool on a different day, or we've also done makeups, and they won't give us that second day until the 23rd, and then they'll give us the second day. But right now the 23rd is it, which would be for any remote learners as well as face-to-face. Okay, so snow days. Now, I know it's August, and it's nice out, but at some point, the snow will come. Hopefully, it'll be worse than last year, so we get to use a couple snow days. But if that would happen, we do have we have over 10 days accumulated to use for snow days. So we will use those. So when we have a snow day, when they would cancel school because of the weather, whether it be Berea or St. Mary's, we will still send the information out, whether it's text, email, or on the TV. I'll still do it the same way. But when we do a snow day, it is a snow day. We're not doing remote learning until we run out of snow days. So whether you're remote or whether you're face-to-face, if we get a snow day, we're taking the day off. It is a good day to be off. Hey, can I get an amen? There we go. That's for you, Father. Okay. So we've obviously sent out a couple different platforms. One would be for face-to-face, one would be for remote. So I was going to start with a little bit, I'm not going to read to you because obviously you've already seen it, and I'm sure you've looked over the face-to-face platforms. But I thought a couple of things that we should kind of reiterate. First of all, how are we getting in the building, right? That's kind of key. So on the August 26th, there are 3 ways that you're going to get in the building. There's 3 doors that will actually be open to come in. So obviously, for those that ride the bus, and we are being told that all Strongsville, Berea, and Olmsted Falls are all running buses. So we should have buses from all 3 of those. And it doesn't look like anybody but us is really in face-to-face. So I have a feeling that first week of school ought to be pretty smooth because we're the only ones running. So having said that, those that are riding the bus, they come right in the front doors there where the semicircle is in the beginning, in front of the building. Mr. Kerner, that's me. I'll be there, as well as on days that Mrs. Ziegler is here, she will be there. Come on out here, Mrs. Ziegler. So if those of you who don't know, this is Mrs. Ziegler. She does all the things that I don't want to do. And for those of you that like to talk, she is it. I know it is. So the other 2 doors that will be open are over there for those of you that drop kids off. Usually grades 4 to 8, you've gone through this. But so, you swing around the back and there's those 2 doors. One's for primary and the other one that says PSR door, that's for grades 4 through 8. You'll come through those doors. I'll have people at both doors. I ask that we don't congregate. I know sometimes we are in a rush in the morning and we drop kids off before 8:30. I can't have kids standing in a huddle over there because we don't have, first of all, there's not supervision. Second of all, I can't have them 6 feet apart because they'd be in the parking lot, right? So I need you to make sure that you wait till 8:30. If you come early, that's fine, but they need to stay in the car with you in the parking lot. And as you well know, sometimes we're in a rush. And so if you were ever parked in the car and they need to get through that line of cars, walk them. I don't care if they're 8th grade, walk them to the door. For your safety, for your child's safety. And we have people out there, but it never hurts to take that extra step and walk them through those people that are pulling through and around to the door. So that's in the morning. So those 2 doors that are open for primary and junior high, that's where they come in and they come into the busing. If you would need to stop in the office, speaking of the office, I do have 2 wonderful ladies that work in the office. Mrs. Zaba, are you waving, Mrs. Zaba? There you go, Mrs. Zaba, and Mrs. Hennessy. They both work in the office. I didn't forget about you. I just thought I'd move you along to the end. So if you would need to stop in the office, I would just ask that you would call ahead so that they know you're going to be there. For the most part, that door by the office is going to be a door for people that are already in the building for maybe for a meeting. That's the doors that they're leaving, and I don't want people coming and going through the same door if possible. The other door is the daycare door. So I know some of you may need the daycare before school or after school. That door's still going to be open, and for right now, that's going to have to be an in and out for the most part. Hopefully that makes sense. And as you can guess, at the end of the day, those same doors that everybody's coming in, those are the doors everybody's going out. So again, if you would need to come into the building, the only door that I would want you to use coming into the building at the end of the day would be the office door. Okay? Obviously, we're going to run into times, it's kind of like in the grocery store where they have those arrows that you can't go in the wrong way and everybody still does it. I get it. I mean, but, I would like, for the most part, us to try to follow those. I know there's going to be times where it doesn't work and, all of a sudden they forgot their Chromebook in the car and you got to swing back. I get it. But I would kind of like, if possible, if we could kind of go with the flow on that. I know that never happens with any of your kids, but there are kids that forget their books in your car, and they don't let you know until, of course, you're home versus on your way home. We're going to obviously continue to have all school masses. The masses will be here because we can get the entire school in here 6 feet apart with them all here. That's the great news. The bad news is I can't have anybody else in the church when I have all the kids here. So unfortunately, we've always had visitors or parents. Unfortunately, that's not going to work because I can't have you and them in here at the same time. So that's the bad news. The good news is we're going to live stream the masses. So Mr. Massandrea, who's up there, hello, Mr. Massandrea, he does a lot with live streaming obviously for the masses on the weekends. He's going to help us out with that. So as you well know, not all the masses are here. Why? Well, because it rains, and it's a long walk, especially when you're trying to get a bunch of kids to come over. Sometimes like herding cats. So obviously on those days where it's either raining or it's below 20 degrees, or we got a foot of snow and nobody's shoveled off the sidewalk and we can't get over here, Mass will be over at the school, but we will only have 3 grades in the gym, and then we will stream them into the classrooms and at home. So hopefully that makes sense. We're going to have Mass. It will be here unless the weather's bad. Then it'll be back at school, and only 3 grades will be in there, and we'll kind of rotate whether it's 6th, 7th, and 8th, 3rd, 4th, or 5th, or K1 and 2. Okay? Lunch and recess. So lunch and recess, those that are each day, 1 grade will eat in the cafeteria. The only reason that there's only 1 grade in the cafeteria is that's the only way I can get 6 feet apart. They're all facing the same direction, and they're all 6 foot distancing. So 1 class will eat in the cafeteria, and then obviously that's going to rotate. The other 2 classes will eat in their classroom 6 feet apart, sitting at their desks. Obviously that's an opportunity for Mass to get some breathing, right? So once they've had their 20 minutes to eat, and speaking of eating, we will provide a boxed lunch, and we will still provide milk and water. But the boxed lunch will be, here's what it is. Either you want it, and so you buy it, or you don't. So there's no a la carte. There's no selecting, so that we don't have any moving of here, here, here. It's here you go. Here's your lunch. So generally, it's going to be something in the vicinity of a chicken patty sandwich. You'll have string cheese and some type of snack, and then you can have it. And then there'll be either water or milk. And my understanding is $4. Again, this is all new, so you guys are the first ones to hear it. And if you don't, and you just want to buy milk or water, that's available too. So I don't want them having to exchange money while they're trying to purchase or to get their lunches, because obviously the ones going through the line will grab their lunch and go, and those in the classroom will be given the lunch. So if you're going to buy lunch, I ask that you send in an envelope with your child's name on it and the money in there. We will send it all down to the cafeteria at the beginning of the day. Mrs. Stepanek, our cafeteria specialist, she will make change and send it back by the end of the day so that we don't have to play with money. Because I don't want the kids having to worry about money. I just want them to grab their lunch and move on. So that would help if you would do that. Once they've had lunch, then we will go outside. So outside, for right now, will be mask-free, 6 feet apart. There will be no playing of any games. They can play catch, but we're not going to play any games because we can't keep 6 foot distancing if we're playing a game. And it is an opportunity for our kids to breathe without a mask. We will have phys ed. It will be in the gym on days that we can't get outside. They will be wearing masks in the gym. The only good news is the gym is the coolest area in the entire school. It is air conditioned for right now, and obviously, heated when, yada, yada, yada. So they will be in masks obviously, they'll be cleaning their hands on the way in. They'll be wearing masks in there. They'll be cleaning their hands on the way out. They will be cleaning their hands a lot. Now, with you in that packet that you have, there's a handout on the clinic. Okay? So there are symptoms on there, and I'm sure that if you've done any reading on COVID, you know what the symptoms are, right? So our teachers, if they see that we have kids in the building that have those symptoms, they're sending them down to the clinic. And you'll be getting a phone call. They will be going home. If they're symptom-free, they come back. If they're not symptom-free, they stay home. And you know that about temperatures, right? So if you're supposed to be taking that temperature before they even get on the bus or get in the car, so if they have a temperature, they shouldn't be coming into the building. We will be checking the temperatures before they go to lunch. If they have a temperature over 100 degrees, we'll be sending them home. They have 3 days. They don't come back to the building for 3 days. After the 3 days, they don't have a temperature without using meds, they come on back. So part of that, you also have what we call our emergency medical form, right? That's that beautiful form that we take whenever we go anywhere. It is also all the numbers that I use to call you. So on that, there's at the bottom there where it says concerns. That's a big area right there. I don't think we always take advantage of that area. But if you're in the building and your kids have chronic issues, whether it's allergies or, they have a runny nose or that's part of something that they deal with on a daily basis. It's not a symptom that they're sick. It's something that they deal with. That would be an important place to put it. Why? So that our teachers know that if they have a runny nose or their eyes are watery or whatever that looks like, we know. And we're not going to send them home because they have one of those symptoms that just happens to also be something that they deal with on a daily basis. So I ask that you really take your time and fill those out. Now, obviously, the next big thing is, what do we do if we get a confirmed case of COVID in the building? God forbid that happens. The beautiful part in this is, and I know some of you aren't happy about wearing masks all day, but if our kids are masked all day, they're 6 feet apart, the odds of it spreading are slimmer than if we had no masks and they're all 3 foot distancing. So one of the things that we will obviously do is communicate that throughout the entire community of St. Mary's. We will also communicate that with the classroom itself. I will obviously be calling the Cuyahoga County Board of Health and saying, here's what I know, here's what I have, what am I going to do? I will follow those rules specifically of whatever they tell me to do, their recommendations, and I will go forward. If they say, as long as they were 6 foot apart and they have their mask on all day, then what we need to do is tell them that, let the parents know, and they need to make sure that they're looking for symptoms. If that's what they tell me, that's what I'm going to tell you. All right. You have a lot of forms in front of you. Obviously, there's the forms to come back to school. There's the remote forms to sign off on. There's emergency medical to sign off on. There's the walk to church form. You got a bunch of them. So take your time. Where do you need to pass them back to? You can give them back to the homeroom teachers on Sunday. You can give them back to the school for those that are remote learners. If any of those, you can drop those off when you come to get those on Monday and Tuesday. We'll take them on the first day of school on August the 26th. Okay? As Father said, I know we're going to have questions. I have most of them, most of the answers, but I don't have them all. And if I don't have an answer, I will be honest with you and tell you I don't have the answer, but I'll find you the answer. I ask that you contact me if you have questions throughout the year. If what I said tonight doesn't make sense, call me. If you email me with 10 questions, I will call you. Even though I'm an educator, I hate to write. And I hate to type, because 9 times out of 10, what I try to convey to you is taken the wrong way, and then I've broken a relationship. And I'm not going to do that. Now, sometimes it's an easy answer, and so you're going to get an easy answer back. But if it's something that I think that I need to call you, I will call you. Okay? Okay, remote learning. The beauty of remote learning is it starts at 9 o'clock. So whether or not you're face-to-face or you're remote learning, the day starts at 9 o'clock. And we expect you to have a school uniform shirt on, because your face and your shirt is on camera and it is streamed to the teachers and to the classroom. So we expect you to dress appropriately, at least from the waist up. We expect that you're not sitting in your bed, propped up by a pillow. We expect you to sit at a desk or a table with your learning supplies around you to treat it like it's a regular day for you. Parents, if your child is sick, and it's going to happen even if they're remote learning, we need a phone call so that we know they're not going to be here, so that our teachers know, because at 9 o'clock we're taking attendance. Again, for those that are remote learners, if you need to pick up your stuff, Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday. If you're kindergarten through 3 and you need a Chromebook, please contact me. I'll have one for you. One of the last things I want to talk about is MAP testing. For those that are not familiar with MAP testing, it is the Diocese of Cleveland standardized testing. In the old days, it was called, anybody want to take a guess? The Iowas, right? So in the last, I want to say it's been 5 or 6 years now that we've been doing MAP testing. So instead of getting more of a percentile, we get what's called a RIT score, which is that ready-to-learn score. It's a little bit more confusing, but once you get the idea of where you're at, it's the idea that since we're doing it 3 times throughout the year, you can see growth. And if we're not seeing growth, we don't have to wait till one time of the year to figure out whether or not we're growing or not. And for the most part, we do, in grades 4 to 8, we do math, we do reading, and we do language arts. Whether you're remote learning or whether you're face-to-face, we will do MAP testing. The MAP testing will be done at the same time. We'll be doing it through Zoom. Those that have the Chromebooks, they will have it already set up so that you can do the testing during the same time the kids in the face-to-face will be doing MAP testing. Now, I heard a new term at one of my many principal meetings called the COVID slide. So what the research shows is that during the summer, the RIT score drops. Anybody want to take a guess how many points that is? 5 points. That's generally what the slide is over the summer. What they are proposing, because obviously they don't know anything yet, but they're proposing that the COVID slide will be a total of 10 points. With the summer and COVID, that they're proposing that there'll be a slide of at least 10 points. So if you had a RIT score of 160, they're guessing that when we start that first test in September or early October, that the starting score will actually drop 10 points. Now, that isn't to say that every one of our kids are going to drop. Some of them may still move up. But so that you don't freak out and my teachers don't freak out, we're going to expect that there is going to be a slide. Now, we also know that for some kids, they haven't been in a classroom in 6 months. And some kids learn a lot better in the classroom than they do remotely. Right? Okay, so we realize that, and our teachers realize that. So there's going to be a lot more review than we've ever done before. Because we got kids that haven't sat behind a desk, some of them, right, in front of a teacher to have that face-to-face. Some of them learn just as well remotely, and that won't be as big of an issue. But we know that we have kids that need to have a person in front of them to teach. We just happen to have teachers that are going to do that. So I just want to make sure that we're kind of on the same page. So they're giving us a wide window because as you well know, many schools are starting at many different dates. I mean, I thought I was late, because usually I'm one of the latest schools to start, because I kind of like to enjoy August as long as you possibly can. But you know that many of them are starting after Labor Day, and some of them are starting even after Labor Day, further than Labor Day. Some of them are not, or all of them are, some of schools are starting remotely until the second quarter. I'm just saying, they're telling us at the diocese we need to wait at least 4 weeks, and then we'll start the testing. Do I think that we're going to run into some bumps while we're trying to do the testing? Yeah, I do. And I think we're going to run into some of that with remote learning. I'm just being honest. And I think we need to be ready for that and patient with that, because I think it's going to happen. We put plans together, and they don't always work the way that we think they're going to work. All right, that's about as long as I've ever talked. I know, Father. It's not a homily. I'm going to stop now. At this time, you have a question. You're not allowed to ask a question. I told you to email me if you had a question. So it better be a cute question and not one that I got to spend time talking about. Okay. I mean, because somebody from downtown Columbus decides that we are back to stay-at-home order? Yeah.
And then we haven't done the map testing yet. Will they do their map testing virtually from home?
Yes, they will. No matter what, we'll be doing map testing. That will happen. And yes, if I was a betting man, do I think that there's a possibility we're going to get a stay-at-home order throughout the school year? I'd be foolish to say no. I think it's going to happen. I really do. I've prayed a lot. I've told Father to pray. I've told other Father to pray. But they only have so much. Yes, Mrs. Young.
First of all, I would just like to thank all of you guys. I'm very appreciative. I realize that there are varying levels of sensitivity regarding this topic, but I can speak for several people that I know. We are very thankful. We appreciate all you guys have done. We know this is not easy. There are a lot of unknowns, and I believe you're absolutely 100% correct. You will hit bumps along the way, but thank you for doing it. Thank you for having it well thought out, well laid out, and being sensible about it.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, teachers. Thank you, Father. I appreciate the investment because I know it was one. We talked about 4 E's. I haven't forgotten about them. They're just going to kind of tweak as we go. Okay. Before we go to our teachers, I do have a small commercial from PTO. Mrs. Patton, where are you? Okay, do you want to speak from there? Or would you, I know, take that back. You're going to be coming up here, unless you want me to say what you said yesterday. It's a non-negotiable.
Well, thank you for having me. Okay, so I think everybody knows me, but just in case you don't, my name is Stephanie Patton. I have a son going into 5th grade and a daughter going into 1st. I have been on the PTO, this will be my 8th year, and then 3rd year as president. So normally with PTO, we do fun social events and fundraising like the polka party, mailies, poinsettias, our social events like the hayride, father-daughter events, all kinds of fun things. But unfortunately this year, to keep everybody safe, we're canceling all of our social events and our fundraising events. And what we have asked is I sent a letter, I think like a month ago, but I'll resend it again. I'm asking for families to donate $100 per family, because since we're not having any fundraising events, we need to still help the school, teachers and students with donating, like we did for this year. We're donating masks for every child. We also helped with the remote learning platform. We donated half of that with the church. So we still need to ask families to help. And I know right now is a hard time, so if you can't donate the 100, that is totally understandable. But if you are able to donate the 100 or at least more, we would greatly appreciate that. Because again, without you guys, we can't donate or help with any of the school events like we want to. And hopefully, knock on wood, and with everyone's prayers, we'll be able to go back to our normal events next school year with like social events and fundraising events. But until then, we just have to kind of go with the flow and be patient and do this kind of donation for right now. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Patton.
Yes. I'm sorry? Yes, if possible, yes. Thank you.
Great question. Okay. We're going to move on to the teachers. So we're going to start with 4th grade. Mrs. Garrow, you're up first. There we go. Let's give it up for Mrs. Garrow.
Okay. Hello, I'm Shannon Garrow, and this will be my 12th year actually teaching here at St. Mary's. As Mr. Carner has said, this year is very different from years past, but I'm so excited to be back in the classroom with the kids. I've been looking forward to it all summer. Well, actually, since we left in March. One thing that I can assure you, though, that hasn't changed at SMS is our commitment to the students. Our top priority is maintaining safety in the classroom, followed by our second priority of maintaining relationships with the kids. I know whatever happens this school year, our kids will feel safe, valued, and loved, whether they're in the classroom with us or whether they're at home learning remotely. I am the 4th grade homeroom teacher, and 4th grade is an exciting time for the kids because that's when they finally get to be considered the big kids and start switching classes. They're not going to, unfortunately, be able to switch classes this year, but they still will get the opportunity to have the different teachers, so it will still be different and exciting for them. I teach 4th grade reading and science. Mr. Bloom will have them for math, English, and social studies, and then Mrs. Smith will have them for religion and art. Our focus in 4th grade is on being more independent, organization, time management, study skills, and that's kind of the stuff that we really focus on in becoming a 4th grader. In reading, we focus on literature, nonfiction texts, and foundational skills. I think one of the biggest difference, though, from primary to 4th grade is that we're not learning to read anymore, but we're reading to learn. So we apply that, reading is really important in how they comprehend material from their other classes in that way. For 4th and 5th science, so I teach 5th grade science as well, we spend a lot of time with the scientific method, developing critical thinking skills. Discovery hall time, the discovery hall is going to look a little bit different than it has in the past, but we are still going to utilize that time. Mrs. Smith and I have been working on a project called Genius Hour, and that's what we're planning on doing during the discovery hall this year. It's kind of the concept along the lines where kids work on an individual passion project that promotes creativity and innovative thinking, and it allows them to choose something that they're interested in to kind of spend that time researching and learning about it. So it's structured in a way to help them, but it also gives them creativity in how they do it. Health class will be held once a week for 4th and 5th grade, usually on Fridays instead of science class. I teach 6th, 7th, and 8th grade math as well. Major focuses in math for middle school are ratio and proportional relationships, number systems, equations, expressions, geometry, and then statistics and probability. I think, though, one of the biggest things that I've seen from teaching math over the past couple of years is that math self-esteem is super important, and that's kind of a big part of my philosophy as a math teacher, just teaching that math esteem, where I actually did a professional development this summer, and the keynote speaker said 50% of math is solving problems, and then 50% of math is how you feel about math. And I truly believe that. A lot of kids have this hatred towards math, and it kind of gets in the way of them being able to figure the problems out. So I try really hard to work on that confidence in math and their math self-esteem, making math relatable to them. So when they ask me, why are we learning this, trying to show them how it actually applies to the real world. 8th grade math is a little bit different because it's divided into algebra and then the standard 8th grade math. If you have a student in 8th grade, I will be emailing you later this week to share with you what my recommendation is for your student. After I send out the email, if you have any questions or you'd like your student placed in a different class, just contact me and we can discuss that. Algebra is different because it moves at a little bit of a quicker pace and it requires more independence, and it's usually for those students that have really mastered the 6th and 7th grade concepts. Okay, so in closing, I'm looking forward to a happy and healthy school year. I know with all the uncertainty, it can be a little bit nerve-wracking, but I always think of the Bible verse from Jeremiah, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. With God by our side, I know this is going to be a great year. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Bloom will be up next. Just a reminder, you realize that we're not changing classrooms right now. Okay, just so that you know, for those 3rd grade parents that are now 4th grade parents, that transition becomes a tad bit easier knowing that your kids don't have to move anywhere. All their stuff is in one spot. Okay, Mr. Bloom.
Hello, everybody. It's nice to see all of you again. My name is Mr. Bloom. I'm teaching 4th and 5th grade language arts, social studies, and math. Really looking forward to the challenges this year. A little bit about social studies, 4th grade. Mostly we talk about Ohio history, famous people, things to do around Ohio and things like that. 4th grade mathematics, a lot of math facts. Like Mr. Kerner said, we're going to be doing a lot of review to start the year out. Make sure they all know how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide and stuff like that. Get into fractions. And 5th grade math, a little bit more. We're going to get into ratios, fractions. 5th grade social studies is mostly about the Western Hemisphere, so we will be talking about North and South America. Again, important places, geography, cultures, things like that. Language arts, 4th and 5th grade, basic sentence structure, learning how to write, learning how to read, and things like that. So I'm really looking forward to the challenges this year. Some of the challenges we made a little bit easier because my homeroom will be in a Spanish room. Is that still the same? That is correct. So we'll have air conditioning, so it'll be a lot more comfortable for the kids and me. Not sure what I'm going to do with the beard yet. I know what Mr. Carter said in March, we're going to be out for 2 weeks. I just told my wife, so I'm just going to grow my beard until we go back to school. So here we are 6 months later. It's kind of itchy under the mask, so I may look a little bit different on the first day of school, but really looking forward to seeing the kids again, rebuilding the relationships with the kids and the parents. And if you ever have any questions, please just shoot me an email. I'm really easy to get a hold of, so nice seeing you all again.
Okay, Mrs. Smith.
Hi, guys. I'm Kathy Smith. I've been teaching at St. Mary's for 13 years. It's my 13th year. I teach 6th, 7th, and 8th grade science. And we usually do a science fair with these 7th and 8th graders. And I am still planning on doing that. It won't be a fair, obviously. Maybe we'll have them present in the class. But like Ms. Garrow said, science is basically it's scientific inquiry. So scientific method, the last step is sharing your data. So we will still focus on that as well as in 6th and 7th, or 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. 6th grade used to do a group project, but obviously that's not going to happen. I hate to say we can't and we won't. I'd rather say we can and we will. It's just going to be different. So I think Ms. Garrow did a very nice job of saying that we are working on providing a safe environment for the kids and having them still do hands-on. I have a plan, and the kids will be doing like individual hands-on at their seat, et cetera. I also teach 4th and 5th and 6th grade religion. And I mean, I'm not going to go through the curriculum. It's the foundation of our faith and our religion, 10 Commandments, Beatitudes, sacraments, et cetera. I want you to know that I'm constant communication. If you ever need anything, please don't hesitate. Genius Hour with Discovery Hall, I have it with 6th and 7th graders, so that will be taking place. And other than that, I just really miss your kids a lot. So really looking forward to seeing their faces. And if you ever need anything, just let me know. Thanks.
Thank you, Mrs. Smith. All right, Mrs. Patena.
Hello, everyone. I jotted down some notes, but I don't have my glasses, so I won't be able to see them anyways. So I'll be more brief. Wow, what a journey it's been. We are really excited to get back to school, probably more than ever in any of our lives. So what a journey it's been. We get to come to school. We get to come to school. Super cool. So I'm going to tell you a little bit, since it is fresh, a different spin this year. I really prayed about it and thought, how can I make religion different and fresh and engaging in everything we're going through? We need it more than ever. So I thought about, in 8th grade, for example, taking the Catholic social justice teachings and do a theme a month. And then within that theme, take anything that surrounds that topic and go in depth with it. So for example, if we're talking about, say, September is caring for the poor and vulnerable, we would study where that came from in Scripture, where Jesus modeled that for us, and then Mother Teresa and our examples of saints who've modeled that for us, and then the church and how we've done that as an organization, and then how we do that in modern times. So with each principle, we'll take it and go in depth each month. And it covers the curriculum in a new and fresh way. So I think it'll be super cool. 7th grade, I'm going to take the same approach. And Mrs. Smith and I talked about taking the basics of our Catholicism, breaking them up by the month, and then taking that theme and going in depth with it. So if it's sacraments, we would study where that came from within the Bible, where those sacraments were mentioned or where they weren't, and compare and contrast those things. And some things have been derived from tradition. Which ones? Why? How? So this should be really neat. I'm excited to get going on that this year. With reading, I'm not going to give you the details of all the novels that we're going to read this year, but I do have the details mapped out. So if you're curious what your student is reading in 5th or 6th or 7th or 8th grade this year, as far as novels, I can tell you the month we'll be reading it and what we'll be reading. So feel free to contact me. I like to map it all out at the beginning of the year. And then with that being said, in reading, we're going to study craft and structure of authors, vocabulary acquisition, and comprehension, of course. So just taking it to the next level, always. And I'm excited, I really am, to get back to school. I know your students are. And the last thing I want to say is one of the main truths that I live by in life is that fear is the opposite of faith. They don't exist together. They're completely separate and opposite. So I have faith that God is going to guide us to do the best for your students. And fear is there to caution us, but not to guide us. So God is with us through this, and I know that He's going to keep us all safe, healthy, and moving forward. So that's it.
All right, Mr. Jones, let's keep it brief.
All right, I'm Mr. Jones. I've been here 17 years. And before I'm always the last one to go, which means they cover everything that I was going to say, which always puts me in that position. but Mr. Carner, Father John, the task force, Mr. Jim, the office staff, the clinic staff, Mrs. Barrett, we got to thank them because they made all this possible. Like, we wouldn't be here being able to go to school if they didn't put in those hours. And that to me is like, it's huge because I can't teach your kids without any of that. So thank you so much. That is more important than anything. Sixth grade, the kids do not know me yet. I teach English and social studies, and it's not easy. We cover a lot. We cover a lot of early civilizations and social studies. In English, we do a lot of writing and a lot of reading, and they know their sentences. They will be able to diagram, pick apart, take apart, nouns, verbs, adjectives. It's going to drive you crazy. But by the end of the year, you're going to be amazed. 7th grade, 6th grade, we're just going to step it up. It's going to be the same stuff. In 8th grade, we're good. Like, I've already got them where I want them. So that's all I have. I'm excited to be here. So, wow. Mr. Carner, record time. I told you.
That is a record for Mr. Jones. We need to give him another round of applause. Along, obviously, with our teachers, our priests also spend time teaching in the classrooms. Father John primarily works with our 8th graders throughout the school year. He comes in every other week. Father Stock will be working with 3 different grades, and I can't tell you off the top of my head what they are, but he will be working first quarter with one grade, second quarter with a different grade. And Father Chuck from St. Adelbert will also be coming over, and he spends time working with the grades that Father Stock does not do. I also have the deacon. He comes in at least 4 or 5 times throughout the school year, and he primarily works with second grade with the sacraments. So our priests are very present in the building, and we're lucky that they find the importance of being there. So I thank them all for their time working with us, because I think it's important that our kids understand that they're more than just the guy that's at Mass on Sunday. So I do appreciate the time they spend in here. I thank you all for coming tonight. I did get within in less than an hour, so I'm good. Thank you all. And if you do have questions, please don't hesitate to email me or give me a call. Have a great night. Thank you.